Hi, guys. Welcome to Twin Perspective. I'm Joe, and today I'm going to begin a new series entitled The Albums You Should Own. Now, preference is subjective, and no one's heard every piece of music out there, but in my lifetime and limited exposure, my love for music, this series will include some of my favorite albums and what I consider to be greatest albums that I've ever heard. I think that all of the albums in this series will offer something that the music lover will or can appreciate. And this is the first one, so here we go. I offer up to you today the self-titled Stone Roses by the Stone Roses, 1989. Now, in this series, I am focusing on the American releases. The version of this self-titled masterpiece that I owned included Elephant Stone and Fool's Gold. So that is the version I'll be focusing on. Stone Roses, I discovered them on 120 Minutes on MTV late at night. I forget which, I think it was a Sunday night that it used to air back when I was a kid. I was 18 years old in 1989. And they were playing the single I Want to Be Adored. And I thought it was really good. I thought that they captured a mood. And I thought that what the guitar player was doing was just interesting enough for me to know that this guy's got some ability. At that point in my life, I loved alternative new wave music. A lot of the guitar players in those bands would play these catchy solo type melodies that they would repeat over and over again, and the way that John Squire was doing it in "I Want to Be Adored" was a little more, in my opinion, leaned towards that rock of the '70s and even in the '60s. I thought there was something melodic about it that. And then the Stone Roses also have this way of stopping and starting songs. Well, they'll stop a part and start it again, and it's kind of like this. With the instruments they're playing, it doesn't sound like it, but to me, it kind of reflects even the '50s and maybe even a little of the '40s. But anyway, "I Want to Be Adored" is the first track off of this album, and it was the first single I heard, and it made me go out and get this album. And what's unique about this album to me is it's one of the only albums I own that I've heard that actually gets better as it goes along, and it really does hit the peak at the very end. Most albums try to spread out these, great single type songs, and I don't know if Stone Roses expected any of these songs to be singles, or if they even approached the way this album, flows that way. But in my opinion, it almost to a T gets better and better and better with each song. "I Want to Be Adored," the big single, was the first one, and I had some expectations. The next song on the album is "She Bangs the Drums," and this is just typical alternative new wave, the way I like it in my mind, with a bass line that's chugging along and a guitar player that can provide highlights, and a drummer that keeps it going. Actually, Rennie on the drums does his rhythms flow. There's a it's kind of like a slide. It's kind of like a smoothness, and he will emphasize different things during a song which kind of really changes the drum beat up quite a bit, but it maintains the same tempo. It maintains a good flow. Um, they do a lot of that on this. She Bangs the Drums is a great example of John Squire on guitar being able to play rock and roll. And yeah, not disappointed when I heard that one. And then in our American release, the next song was Elephant Stone. And it has this wacka wacka rhythm in the background at the very beginning. And to me, that kind of stuff just was awesome to me. I think I really loved the time in music in the 60s and 70s when the wacka wacka guitar, and that's what I'm going to call it, was more prevalent in songs because it's funky as all hell and I love it. But the Elephant Stone breaks down into different things other than that. And John Squire, again, amazing on guitar. And Rennie on the drums just shines in Elephant Stone. I mean, that drum beat that he has going on there at the beginning is just, it's impeccable. It's strange and it's awesome. Um, and with every song that the Stone Roses do, Manny on the bass fits in with Rennie on the drums perfect. And there is a uniqueness to the rhythm of it all. And when it all comes together with Squire on the guitar, uh, it makes a nice, perfect, almost sounds simple. It's so perfect. You break those parts down, and it's some amazing stuff. The Elephant Stone also features, when Ian Brown sings, he's got a unique voice. I have a hard time understanding a lot of the words he says. Um, and he has strange melodies. And in Elephant Stone, I think Ian Brown's harmonies are just strange. And it's beautiful, though. It's fun to sing along with. The next song on the American release is Waterfall. It's a classic, in my opinion. It's a beautiful thing. Um, it's a single type, and I enjoy Waterfall. It's a good one. The song right after is Don't Stop, which is Waterfall played backwards. Now, when you play a song backwards, you kind of just hope you can have a rhythm and a melody that's pleasant to the ears. I think Stone Roses did a great job. I think Waterfall being played backwards actually is melodic and sounds great. Of course, Ian Brown singing different lyrics, and I'm sure they added some things to kind of emphasize a different song here, but it was very unique, and I hadn't heard that done by a lot of artists, and so as the flow of this album goes, I thought that at that point, it's like, okay, it's probably the worst song on the album, but it's so unique, and original that I got to give them kudos for it. The next song is Bye Bye Badman. It's one of my favorites that they've ever done. And John Squire on the guitar is just impeccable in this. There are, melodies that he's playing within the song that he repeats. And, they're really quite complicated guitar solos. They're just played so smoothly and melodically, and it's really busy. Um, maybe the production in the song could have been a little bit better. Maybe they could have played around without Ian Brown singing over it, so that you could really focus on it and hear it more. If you're a music lover and you dive into these things and you listen to instruments, you'll pick that guitar part out, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm impressed by it. I think Bye Bye Badman as a song, the way it's structured is very good too. Um, One of my favorites they've done. The next song on the album is Elizabeth, My Dear. This musically is basically Scarborough Fair by Simon and Garfunkel. Kind of like a homage to that. if not a downright ripoff. They may have even gotten the rights to play the melody. It is definitely Scarborough Fair, and Ian Brown sings about his feelings for the Queen, I'm assuming. Very unique, very simple, but once again, they're doing something that's odd, and it's a pretty short song. So the next song, the eighth one on the American release, a song for my Sugar Spun sister. This song is great. It's fun. The chorus is melodic. Um, it's a pretty good rock song, and the structure of the chords that they use, it's different. There's an alternative flair to it, and not new wave '80s alternative, more like just striving to write something melodically that hadn't been done before, kind of like a '70s Beatles things or something, but definitely more rock. The next song, number 9 on the album, Made of Stone, great little rock song. It's got a good build up. At this point on the album, Made of Stone, you realize when you hear that song from beginning to end, it's like, wow, this is like the perfect song. And I mean, this band has been hitting us all album long with these great original things. And you get to Made of Stone, and it's such a nice little compact song, completely different, in my opinion, from the first track, I Want to Be Adored. I almost get this feeling when I'm listening to Made of Stone is, these guys really should have been around in the 60s because this is the kind of music that, people would have loved back then. They would have been a hit. They would be, in my opinion, revered along with some of the other greats from the 70s. I'm talking about The Who, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin. I think the Stone Roses is on that level. The next song, the 10th one on the album, Shoot You Down, is just an amazing song. Shoot You Down is one of them things where, okay, in my goofy ass mind, this song is cool. I mean, this is cool. No matter what band is out there, if you did Shoot You Down, you could say that's the coolest thing we've ever done. It's cool. It's like Quentin Tarantino cool. It's that kind of cool. Okay, if you don't like Quentin, okay, don't worry. I don't really either. I'm just saying, preference is subjective, but in my opinion, Shoot You Down is cool. The guitar sound on it, it almost sounds like a Hawaiian thing at first, but it's not. It's just a smooth, soothing. It's one of them things where the epitome of you get really high, you lay back, and this song just kind of takes you. I mean, this is just cool. And there's a quick little rock thing toward the end. Another one of them start and stop things. And even that is broken down with guitar sounds that are, a clean electric with kind of like the Birds or something like that. It's just a little pop, remind you that they're there presenting something, and then you get lost in that clean little. Oh Jesus, great song! You have to get this album just for this song. It's, in my opinion, it doesn't get any better than that. That's just the coolest thing ever. Then the next song is This Is the One, and This Is the One is just as rockin' alternative as you can get. They pound out these 4 chords like nobody's business. You get to the point when they keep repeating This Is the One where you just realize, yeah, this must be the one, because they're really, really, really banging at it. That's a great song. It really, really jumps out at you when you hear it. And then the album ends in America with I Am the Resurrection, followed by Fool's Gold. I Am the Resurrection is the best song, in my opinion, they've ever done. It closes out the album, except for this version with Fool's Gold. It's got a second half jam to it that is impeccable. And the first half of the song, in my opinion, the single part of the song, which is a straight drum beat, and kind of written like a lot of bands in the 50s and 60s would have written a song, except John Squire once again playing these little mini solos that fill up the melody of it instead of just your basic chords being strummed. He's got he's got some melody going on in there, and it, to me, John Squire's guitar work impacted me a lot like Johnny Marr from the Smiths, where when you hear the Smiths and you listen to them guitar parts, and you're like, this guy is playing great chords and he's very melodic, and John Squire does the same thing for me. That jam at the end of I Am the Resurrection is just godsend. And then in this version, it ends with Fool's Gold. And Fool's Gold, when I was 17, 18 years old, was the best song to dance to at a bar or a club. And that's what we used to do back then. We'd go find the clubs that would play alternative new wave music, and we'd get drunk and dance. And there was no song better than Fool's Gold. And on top of that, it's got wanka wanka guitar for days. It's got two different bass lines going on. It's got a set drum pattern that repeats, and it has a little change in it, just enough for you to notice. And so the whole thing is just fun as hell to listen to. Um, it may seem repetitive. It is a 9-minute song, and they don't change too much about it. But it's funky. It's so funky, and in my opinion, this one, along with "Don't Stop," are the two songs on this album that are like completely different than what you'd hear from any other band out there. With "Don't Stop," the backwards music, and with this one, just the constant wanka wanka, funky as all hell. I mean, just beautiful. There are probably bands out there that played a lot of music like this. What I'm saying is, not all bands throw together a wanka wanka dance classic like this for sure. I'm sold on that song. The Stone Roses throughout this album present different hints at different genres. Overall, it's completely alternative to me. It's completely throwback, and it is regarded as a great album. Those people who love music will tell you that this is one to have in your collection. It's one that you should listen to, and there's a lot to love about it. So that's it. That's it for this one. The Stone Roses, self-titled, released in 1989. One of the albums that you should own. That's my opinion.